Last night, after much postponing, the Orillia City Council had a special meeting to discuss strong mayor powers in which council members were able to make comments, the public was able to make comments, and they also had a guest lawyer come and speak about the subject. As always with any of these videos I make, I'm not going over everything that was said. I'm just showing you some of my personal highlights. And if you want to see the whole meeting and get some context, it's available in 2 parts on the City of Orillia YouTube page. Here's what they're called in this screenshot here.
We have with us tonight John Mascarin, who's a partner there at Bearless, and he's present to provide council with an educational and informational session on Part 6.1 of the Municipal Act 2001. Thank you for being here tonight with us, Mr. Mascarin. And before I hand it over to you, I'd ask for a quick favor. In your presentation to Springwater recently, when describing AMO's approach to strong mayor, you said it was lackadaisical and, your words, mansy-pansy. I request you not use such homophobic slurs in your presentation here in Orillia tonight. You may go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to appear here. Good evening to you and to members of council. I didn't realize that any of those references to the terrible comportment of AMO with the strong mayor powers was at any way homophobic. I disclaim that that was any kind of intent on my part. So let me get that out of the way.
So nice to be led by a man with such a strong moral compass.
So this is like hugging your sister. It feels good, but it's not going anywhere.
When it was the mayor's turn to speak, he spoke about a hypothetical situation in which a hypothetical city council is hypothetically racist.
I did have a question, though, and this is just purely hypothetical, but you've answered a lot of hypothetical questions tonight, so I'll give you another one. What if a city is tasked with replacing a key executive? What if any of the councillors had ever hired anyone before? The normal hiring process would include developing a job description, gathering resumes, interviewing candidates, checking references, and testing candidates. Who would be the best fit for the city? Then you would naturally sit down together and evaluate who has the best credentials, experience, education, accomplishments, that sort of thing. Who has the best presentation? Those are the things you can measure. Then you can look at things you cannot measure: EQ, interpersonal skills, ability to deal with ambiguity, how people react under pressure, whether they're agile. You can then rank candidates and decide who will best serve the taxpayer. But what if, and again, this is purely hypothetical, the process was not followed, or another way, willfully trampled on? What if councillors rejected a ranking system as they are biased against the more qualified candidate? What if there was a racial animus introduced by one council that, order please, that soiled the process so badly that it could not be removed from the process, and the city would be guaranteed a trip to the Human Rights Tribunal? Order, please.
Point of order.
Order, please.
Point of order.
Point of order?
Yes, Mayor McIsaac, I think it's evident to all of us and to the gallery that that you are making allegations here.
Order, please. Your point of order is denied. Can we take a vote on that? I'm not making allegations. This is a hypothetical question. I provided Mr. Mascarin. Order, please. I get to ask my question. You've given the...
You have to appeal to council.
There's a point of order process.
You appeal to council.
Okay, so call the question to council if this is appropriate.
Okay, call the question.
I say it's inappropriate.
Okay.
I completely agree.
Then I'll conclude with my question. Should the mayor protect the city and the taxpayer from substantial claims before a human rights tribunal and risk a loss of reputation, or should they do nothing? Mr. Mascarin, how would you respond to that?
Mr. Mayor, I will answer it this way. A mayor, just like any member of council, has a fiduciary obligation to act in the best interest of the municipality. So, if the mayor, in that particular hypothetical situation, makes a decision that the mayor will act, then he's protecting the public interest, and therefore the mayor has fulfilled his fiduciary obligations to the municipal corporation as well as the electorate.
Okay, thank you for that. Go ahead.
Could I ask a hypothetical question?
No, we're moving to the next section. You've had your chance to ask questions, and that's order, please.
It's really nice to know that you can say whatever you want about anybody with no repercussions as long as you just pose it as a hypothetical. The councillors asked a lot of good questions and made a lot of good points, and I really urge you to go watch the meeting on YouTube because it is quite interesting, if not a bit long. Then came time for questions from the public, some in person and some called in, and it was really nice to see everybody speaking from the heart.
I follow Orillia Council quite a bit, and I'm a supporter of the strong mayor powers that were recently granted. We have strong mayor powers now, and it's very unlikely the province is going to rescind these.
We have strong mayor powers now, and I would suggest that it's very unlikely that the province will remove them anytime soon.
I suggest we embrace them and use them wisely.
To embrace them and use them wisely.
I see no evidence of these powers being abused.
I've seen no evidence of these powers being abused.
There's been no bylaws vetoed to my knowledge.
There have been no bylaws to my vetoed to my knowledge.
Strong mayor powers were used in this year's budget. It's the best one I've seen.
Strong mayor powers were used in preparing this year's budget. And it's the best I have ever seen.
It allows for the staff to lead the budget and the council as well as the class bar to have input. And
it allows for staff to lead the budget and the council and taxpayers to have input.
I'm actually thankful that I'm getting asked how you're going to spend my money.
Thank you for asking me how to spend my money.
I don't know anyone who's asking council to increase taxes. That's not going to happen either.
I don't know anyone who is asking council to increase taxes.
I don't know of a single taxpayer that I've talked to. If you know one, let me know, who's asked for a tax increase. Do you know any? Do you know any?
People are suffering and need help.
People in our community are suffering financially, and we need to help them.
Setting a goal to keep a level of services at the same level next year. Spending less money is the way it should be.
It is common sense to start a budget with a plan for no tax increase and reduced overheads, as long as you do not cut services.
And I think we can increase the level of service or maintain it and reduce the cost year over year.
If you start out thinking about managing tax increases, you will have tax increases.
And if you start out thinking it's not, you won't get there.
Hypothetically, if somebody gave a couple people a script to call into council and read, then hypothetically they should have at least used ChatGPT to change the wording in order to make it sound different. Or maybe they hypothetically don't even care about our opinion enough to go to the trouble. Several supporters of McIsaac tried to purport that the strong mayor powers were used to help out during the ice storm.
The reality is that Orillia already has strong mayor powers. Mayor McIsaac was granted temporary strong mayor powers on April 3rd to help our city respond to the devastating ice storm that impacted our community earlier this spring.
Request was made because of our state of emergency. The powers were granted to you. And from what you just said, the only decision that you have made using those strong mayor powers was the decision about the CIO. Is that correct?
Well, there's other cases where I've directed staff to do things, and but that's just as part of the emergency. So.
Yeah, and you had that ability as part of our state of emergency, so you didn't require strong mayor powers to do that.
That's not true. I do not have that authority.
Here's a bit from the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act. The head of council of a municipality may declare that an emergency exists in the municipality or in any part thereof, and may take such action and make such orders as he or she considers necessary and are not contrary to law to implement the emergency plan of the municipality and to protect property and the health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the emergency area. There were several really great speakers that came up to the mic and talked, but if I showed them all, it would just be the exact same video is already on YouTube, and it would be like another hour more of this video. So really, I just think you should go over there and check it out. But here are a couple highlights.
129 of the most recent 169 municipalities have been assigned strong mayor powers and have refused it.
The first concern is that strong mayor powers risk creating a city hall culture of cronyism.
Let's give the city a chance and the mayor a chance
and the strong mayor powers will work themselves out.
These powers were not created for strong leaders. They were created for mayors who can't lead without them.
Firstly, in reference to the initial opening of this meeting, as a proud and out member of the LGBTQ+ community, the mention of homophobia by Mayor McIsaac used to impugn the character of Mr. Muscarin due to his choice of innocent language is beyond disgusting. The weaponization of my existence is not a joke.
Also, the Conservatives have largely been responsible for worsening the housing crisis over the duration of their power. They've slashed funding to municipalities on 2 separate occasions of millions of dollars.
So I want to start off with a little hypothetical. What if, during a historic ice storm and state of emergency, when residents of Orillia are without power, cold, vulnerable, and looking for leadership, the mayor of Orillia uses strong mayor powers to consolidate power?
I voted for democracy. I voted, my 2 councillors, I voted for a mayor to have that balance of power, not for one person to unilaterally make decisions that affect my dollars, my life, and my community.
What is the point of having councillors if the veto can overturn everything? And I looked towards the next election and think, how hard is it going to be to find people that want to run for council?
Why do we have municipal elections when our councillors will have a diminished voice?
Spider-Man. His line is, with great power comes great responsibility.
First of all, I heard earlier stated that there was strong mayors given powers, super mayor powers, during an ice storm, and that the mayor used those powers to save us during the ice storm. But when asked what specifically he used those powers to do during the ice storm, there was no specific answer given around how those powers helped to respond to the ice storm. So we're still waiting. So, there's opportunity to